dream. I'm up against the fight of my life. I'm so afraid to sleep at night. You won't get away. It's time for me to let it, let it, let it, let it, let it out. I refuse to run and hide. I must let it, let it, let it, let it, let it out. I refuse to run and hide. All the weight is lifted off my shoulders. I will not hold this in any longer. I know you thought that it killed me, but it has only made me stronger.
Hello, welcome to Let It Out. I am your host, Tobocious Rochester. Happy New Year to you. Last week we couldn't do the show due to the weather. It was terrible, let me tell you. But anyway, we are here on Plug Studio Network, and I hope everybody is doing well. And those who aren't, I'm praying for you guys to heal, just for quick healing, what have you. So please keep tuning into the show. Um, we are going to talk about um, things, spiritual things that happen to you in your lifetime. If you're not afraid to talk about it, let's be about it. Come on, join in on the conversation. 302, good evening. 302 312 3534. We're going to talk about this tonight, and it's going to be really exciting. I had a friend of mine post that she had an experience. I hope you guys saw that on my page this evening. I couldn't believe it either, but it looked creepy. Yeah. Good evening, Brenda. How are you? How are you? Good evening. Yes, you guys. Tonight we're going to talk about something that some people are afraid to talk about and some people aren't. So, spiritual things that happen to you in your lifetime. And we're going to talk about that. Well, I want to start with me, okay? I have had that before. I remember I was living in an apartment, and there was a tree, like, right in front, like, on the side, I guess you could say, because my apartment was facing the rear of the complex. And there was a tree there. And every time it stormed, okay, bro. Okay, he's my co-host is not gonna be able to make it tonight. Yes, I'm not doing good. Okay, I'm praying for you, brother. Yes, you guys. That was my co-host saying he's not well, so we're gonna pray for him. Okay. Now, I was living this part, like I said, and the tree was right there. And every time it thunderstormed, I thought I saw something, and I wasn't sure. So you know how you be like, oh, whatever. Next thing I know, I looked again in the thunderstorm. There was a head of an Indian in this tree. Now, mind you, I know Delaware is known for, Indians, back in the day being there, and that's their, that was their area in Wilmington. And yes, every time it thunderstormed, it would happen. So next thing I know, my mother had came over, and I told her, but nobody believed me. So when she came over, she saw it herself, and she said, "Baby, you was right. There is something in this darn tree." So that was kind of creepy for me. And I had a funny experience happen. I was doing a little show with my crew from Plug Studio Network. Was there with me, and they said they saw they saw the table go up in the air. Now, mind you, everybody, this was funny. Hello, Alicia. This was funny because I was outside doing something, trying to get my music right or something like that. Long story short, I came back in. They was like, "Girl, you gonna believe your little friend done took the table over. We had asked the lady that she want to buy any of your music. She gonna say, no, I need to hear her first." So next thing you know, they said the table done went up on her, food dropped on her, everybody else at the table, it didn't hit them, but it hit her only. Everybody like, what the hell that happened here? It was too funny. But yes, but you guys, let's talk about this tonight. So if you had any of these experiences in your lifetime, don't hesitate to call in, get in on this conversation. Yes, 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 my leprechaun. Yes, everybody's seen it. So, they're like, what the heck was that? Yes. So I have a little friend, yeah, who was hanging around that night. So, yes. And here too, like sometimes, I remember we were sitting here getting ready for a show. I don't know if we was getting ready for the show or after the show. It was one of them. So I'm sitting here, and me and my producer, like, what was that? Did you see that? Did you see that? She's like, it's somebody with a hat. And they came right over here by me. So I don't know who that was, but yeah, but it was an experience. But we both saw it. It was just something black going over in the ceiling. But if you had that happen to you, anything out of the ordinary, good or bad or what have you, don't hesitate to call in and let's have some laughs tonight. Let's smile and have a good time, okay? Now, those who are on tonight, you guys, I hope you guys had a happy new year coming in and everything like that. What did you do? Um, Hi, good evening. My experience, that was Kenyatta. Good evening. My experience was seeing my family after they have crossed over. Now, did it startle you? What did you do? Did it frighten you, or tell me what happened after that happened to you? Some people get that. I know sometimes, you do see people after they have passed on. I know, people hang around. They're not, they're coming to check up on you, basically. Make sure you're all right. You know what I mean? So it's something. I mean, some people say it's devilish and all that kind of stuff, but it's a spirit. I mean, you have good ones, you have bad ones. So you don't know, if it's really them or not. But, the thing is, you can't be conversating, like having a conversation with them, because sometimes they'll come and look at you and just stand there and just look at you, watching over you. So you had that on too. Yes, I couldn't sleep for days or weeks, so I would stay up and sleep during the day. Oh my gosh. Oh yeah, that's frightening. Yeah, I remember. I forgot whose house I was at, and it was really cold in there. It was really cold, and I was like, "There's spirits here," because it felt so cold in there. Like, it was just weird. It was uncomfortable cold. Like, oh my God, where my jacket at? I need a coat or something. It was just really weird. Now I think it was like summertime, but it was cold, like in the house. It was really strange. The air wasn't on or nothing like that. It was really creepy. So yeah. But those, people have those things happening to them all the time. You just don't understand why they come back, or maybe they're trying to tell you something. Maybe they're trying to, give you, trying to enlighten you about something, or they're not finished, they're not finished yet either, about what their plans were, to do or what have you. So, yeah, it gets really out of hand sometimes. Sometimes I get to the point where I can hear a little bit, not much, but I can feel a vibe, like the vibe be like you can feel somebody's there. Have you ever felt like that? Like somebody, like you can feel something, like cold or a hot feeling, like somebody's right there. I know people tell me that too, like they have had that kind of thing happening to them. You know, people have driven in their car, and next thing you know, there's something going on the passenger side, and you're like, wait a minute, I'm in here by myself. I thought, just it's just something that happens. Yeah, yeah. So you gotta just pray, and hopefully it's not a bad spirit, because you gotta be careful of those things too. Because it might not be them. So yeah, as long as you don't be conversating too much with them, because that's what I understand anyway. But have you ever rode anywhere and saw something out of the ordinary? You know, um, heard anything, or just something, like I said, out of the ordinary happened to you in your lifetime spiritually. Come on, let's talk about it. You know, there's people who like to you know have that joke thing going on where they're doing that talk with them. You know, like really talking with them because they think it's not really real, but it is something really going on at that moment. I remember I was sleeping in my bed next to my husband, and he was steady talking. I'm like, who are you talking to? And he was like, the Indian sitting on the curtain rod. I was like, what? It was like he's sitting on the edge of the curtain rod with his leg crossed, sitting there watching us. So I didn't see him, but he seen him. But it's just things like this. They happen all the time, and just for my friend Chrissy, who sent me that photo early, like I said, on Facebook, where she's at a pole class, and there's just something standing there, like just 1 foot. What would you do if you saw something like that? Would you freak out? I think I would. I'd probably be like, what the heck is that? Something ain't right. And I remember long ago, I was living in a house, and the house didn't seem creepy or anything like that. I know, right? And next thing you know, my daughter rolled down the steps. And it wasn't funny, but we laughed after the fact. But I was in the bedroom or in the bathroom getting dressed or something. Something was going on. And I remember my daughter still talking to me at the top of the stairs. Next thing I know, all I hear is boom, 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 bam. She done fell down the steps. She said, Mom, I think somebody pushed me. I'm like, what? Who pushed you? So, I don't know, but somebody pushed me down the stairs. So, we were talking about that earlier, but we laugh about it now because she's okay. But it was just creepy, that happened. I said, somebody must didn't want you. They probably was trying to get down the stairs. You was in their way. But, yeah, but stuff like that happens every day. I remember somebody telling me that they was at a stoplight or something. I forgot who that was. And they saw something like a figure standing there or something like that. Honey, look, you just never know what you're going to see. But you think it's a real person, right? Sometimes. But then when you look real fast, it's like you turn around and they're gone. So ain't nothing real about that. Am I right? Yeah, so you got to just be safe and be careful with that kind of stuff because, like I said, you don't know who they really are. You don't know if it's really that person who you think it is. So just be careful, mindful of that too. But, yeah, so if you want to get in on this conversation, do that. Let's talk about it. Let's let it out together. Let me know about what happened, when you had that experience, what happened to you after it happened, did you run, tell somebody, did you pray about it, whatever you do, you know what I'm saying? Because some people do different things, so they try to deal with it on their own way, you know what I mean? So don't be afraid to let it out with me about that, okay? So let's talk about that. All right, so somebody else, come on, let me know what's going on with you, how you doing? And also, Kenyatta, I wanted to ask you how you doing with the situation that we talked about a couple weeks ago. I think I mentioned it to your uncle too, and I just want to know how you're doing right now. Yeah. So I try to do a cap of that. But yeah, come on, y'all. Let's get in this conversation. Let's not let the show be dread, okay? Let's laugh a little bit. Let's talk about it. Let's have a good time tonight, because sometimes you need to do this, okay? So yeah, so spiritual things that happened in your life, ever in your life, that you had seen or dealt with, so don't be afraid to talk about that, because it's all about what we know. Because maybe you can pass something off to somebody and give them some information on what they could do about it, Like right now, I'm feeling a little wave going on. I don't, you know what I mean? Like you feel something when you're sitting sometimes. things that you just don't understand where it's coming from. But you just try to figure it out. Maybe somebody that passed on who's trying to keep an eye on me. I'm okay. Just miss my mom so much, but mainly trying to let her rest. Okay, I understand that. I understand that. Hi,
Hi.
how you doing? This is my producer, Peach. I know you know her. I know you know her. What's going on?
You know I had to come sit with you on this one.
Yes, I know. Yeah. So, have you had that experience?
What experience? Oh, Lord. You know I have tons of experiences.
Yes.
All right, so where we at with it? Hello, everyone. Don't be afraid to call in and share your experiences.
Right.
You know, black people.
Yeah.
I think that we are spiritual people, but a lot of us, we don't want to show it
Right.
because
Right.
we're afraid what
Well,
society
society's
may
gonna-
feel.
Yeah, yeah. She said, I was just trying to call you.
Okay, Alicia, call back.
Yeah. So, yeah, with us, we tend to hide that. Within
Yeah,
Us,
yeah.
We're afraid to let people know that we have that side in us. Is it ringing?
All right, we about to call Alicia. We calling you, Alicia.
Hi. Welcome to Let It Out. She's so crazy. So tell us more about your experience.
Well, first of all, I've seen spirits since I was a little kid, but my apartment that I've been in for now 6 years came with a ghost.
Ooh.
I don't know what man had died in this house,
What?
but all it is, it's like when I first moved in, like
Ooh.
I would be in the kitchen, and you know how you just feel like somebody's standing beside you.
Yeah, I know that
And
feeling.
it's like I would throw my left elbow, like, can I get some space? Like, back up.
Wait a minute, is it a shadow person? Like, cause you know a lot of times it'd be like a shadow.
You know how you look and out your peripheral, it
Yes.
seems like somebody's standing.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a
And
shadow
it's
person.
like I've seen it. I remember when my kids were little and I was living out a housing project in Baltimore City, and this little boy, you sit down in the living room and you would just see this like little figure just like looking down in the living room, and it just seemed like a little kid.
Oh my God.
And it's like, go to bed. And it's like I wouldn't have that like feeling anymore that somebody was sitting around me.
Right.
It's like, Max told me, like, who the hell are you talking to?
Oh my God.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Like were you frightened?
I never get frightened.
Okay, that's good.
Hi,
I've never
Brandy.
seen-
Wow.
Yeah. Hi,
I used
Daphne.
to be, I was scared and when I was little.
Right.
And I would hyperventilate real bad. And then my great grandmother passed. And no one would let me go see her. And
Right.
she was just the sweetest thing. And, you know, could cook. And you teach different crafts and stuff like that. And when she passed, no one wanted to let me see her. Because they were like, no, she's going to hyperventilate. She's going to get sick. And it's like, yeah. So I snuck through. And I could hear them asking, where was I? Where was I? I was upstairs with her, and it's like she was still warm, and she just looked like herself.
Right.
And it's like I just felt this warmness,
Mm-hmm.
and I saw her breathe. And I think then I was just like, my mom came in the room. She's like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "Oh my God." I said, "She just left." And later on, they told me, you know, the paramedics were like, one of the paramedics was talking to me and stuff like that. And he was like, "Oh, what she described, she apparently took her last breath."
Yeah.
There was like sometimes, you know, after a while, and it's like, and after that, I was never scared to be around a dead person. I was never scared to feel like spirits, ghosts, and stuff like that. And you know what? I've seen it a lot. So it's like now, until my mom passed a couple of years. Since then, I still feel hesitant about going to funerals and stuff like that. But spirits, ghosts, and stuff like that, that's been around me since I was little. Wow. And moving in here and just like, Dave, you can't get no peace. How did the house come with a ghost? And I will sit up there and I will be in the room and it's like, it seemed like you feel something just like standing in the doorway. Yeah. So look around and nobody in here but me. I'm like, and get in here and get to talking, especially cleaning up, doing stuff like that.
Yeah.
You're like, look, I'm not changing my TV, so if you don't like it, you just like to suck the egg and deal with it, because I'm not changing. And I'm it's just cool. You know, you only scared if you're scared of yourself.
Right. Yeah.
Because can't harm you.
Right.
And as long as you don't allow your own self paranoia, it's like my grandma used to tell me, you're only scared because your ass been up to something.
Oh, Lord.
It shouldn't be so bad then. Yeah. Yeah. That's what I get. Raphael stated that that's because you see things we don't.
I'm slightly empathic. I like to see. I like to feel and think so.
Okay.
You gotta be around the friends I got. Jesus. Have you met my friends?
Oh, Lord.
You met my friends. I can't with her. Oh, you're so funny.
Y'all have a blessed evening.
You too.
You too.
Thank you for calling in. Well, we called you. Yeah, that's really common too, where you're moving in somewhere and somebody passed away that was living there already, and their spirit is like just hanging around like, I got unfinished business. This is a dream. This ain't real, you know. I'm gonna stay here. This is my house, you know.
Yeah, I agree, but I think most of that is just residual. I think a lot of times when people pass away, they actually come and linger around before they actually transition over. Yeah, but I'm on here because I'm probably the most spiritual friend that my friends have. Similar to Alicia, I see a lot of things. I mostly hear, so I guess that would be clairvoyance. I can hear, see, predict. I can use tarot. I can do a whole lot of things. So that's why I came up here with you, because I know a lot of times people are uncomfortable. Share this live. Share, first off, before we start, share this live. Did you want to ask me questions, or you just want me to just...
Hey, we're doing this thing together now. We're doing this together now. It's a partnership. We're doing it together now. But, yeah, share this live tonight, because somebody out there knows what we're talking about.
Right.
Everybody, you can't tell me that this has not happened to you in your life. I already know. So we should have more people on here than anything. You know, So, yeah.
Have you guys seen the TV show Ghost? No.
No, I don't.
Okay, just to get into a little bit of background about me, I am the granddaughter of a witch doctor. He used to go around and do spells. And,
I remember you telling me that.
Yeah, and give people their futures and stuff like that. Very lucrative for him. And in his travels, he met my grandmother, and he had children.
Pass it down.
And he just so happened to pass on whatever he had to me.
Wow.
The funny thing is, when he met my grandmother, he enjoyed her company, and he told her, look, you have that one child, but when you have that second child, I don't want to have to deal with what comes with the second child and her children.
Oh my gosh.
And my grandmother said, well, I don't even have one child by
Right,
you, so
right.
what are you
So why
talking about?
Right.
So they had the first child,
Mm.
and he said, I'm warning you, you get ready to have that second child, I'm going to leave.
And
She
did
got
he-
pregnant right after she had the first child, like immediately after.
And did he leave?
He left once
Wow.
my mother turned almost one.
That's crazy.
But he left
Mhm.
instructions on how to
handle
the children
Okay.
or whatever. So when I start to develop different things, my grandmother that raised me knew how to deal with it. Yeah.
Deep.
So from a young age, I would know things and see things.
Because you know, kids,
Yeah.
they really see a lot.
Very
We
heavy.
don't. Yeah, yeah.
I could tell you my first experience, and I used to call it fairy dust. Like my grandmother, I was raised by my aunt. My
Right.
biological grandmother gave my mom to her sister, her brother,
Oh.
and his wife
Okay.
because she didn't want to deal with it.
Oh my gosh.
So my grandmother that raised me used to go to church a lot, and I would see things. So the first thing that I actually saw is when we would go to church, I would notice that people would have these colors around them.
That was their.
But I called it fairy dust because I
Okay.
didn't, as a 5 or 6 year old, you don't understand what that is.
You're like, this is kind of.
And I'm like, Grandma, ooh, they got fairy dust around them.
Oh God.
And my grandmother said, fairy dust. I said, yeah, it's these colors. They have gold and red and whatever. And my
So you
grandmother
could
said, well, what is the
provide
fairy
fairy
dust doing?
Right.
I said, well, some people fairy dust is shiny, but some people fairy dust look like it's blinking. And which I didn't know until I was 8
What they meant.
what it meant. And one lady came to the church, and I was looking at her, and I realized, at 8 years old, it's not fairy dust. That's her
Right.
aura. And it
Okay.
started to fade.
Okay.
And I said to my grandmother, she's going to die. She's dying.
What?
And my grandmother said, shh, shh, don't you say that. I said, but
Right.
she's dying. Because her color is fading. I could
Right.
see her fading.
Oh my God.
Within that week,
That was true.
she died.
Yo.
So that was the first time I really was conscious of what was going on. Sure, I had other experiences, but it's not until you have that major one that makes you wake up and say,
Like.
oh, okay, now I understand.
Yeah.
Like a lot of times when I was little and I would have friends, they weren't real people.
Okay. Imaginary. Imaginary.
Which y'all called
Oh,
imaginary
imaginary
friends. Like, and they was harmless for y'all,
Right.
and y'all would play with them and
Right.
stuff.
Talk to them. And,
These people would tell me things.
oh my God.
And they
You
would tell
guys.
me stuff
Right.
that was for my own good. Like, your imaginary
Yeah.
friend, y'all playing, let's get a
Yeah.
toy.
Right.
Mine will pop up, and we named her Lucy. Because I couldn't say, because she was saying her
Right.
name, and I'm like, Lucy. And my grandma like, well, what?
Who is she?
I couldn't say Liza. She was saying her name is Liza, but I'm like
Liza,
Lucy.
okay.
And my grandmother thought I was saying Lucy. So we just called her that throughout my life. But she will always pop up. Like one time my grandmother, if you were born in the 70s, you know what
Yeah.
76, you know what a kerosene heater is, right? I had saw my grandmother pour the kerosene in there. So she went to the bathroom and I was cold and I got up at night and I had to be around 7 or 8 and I decided I wanted to pour the kerosene in there. And that's when Lucy came
What?
and said to me, don't you touch that.
Shut the front door.
Yep.
Were you afraid?
And I'm looking at her like, well, you can't tell. And I get into an
Right.
argument with her, like a back and
What?
forth exchange. You
Oh
can't
my
tell me
God.
not to touch that. You're not my grandmother. And my grandmother comes out and said, who are you talking to? And I'm like, what's your name? And my grandmother said, well, who is you talking to? I was like, I'm asking her name. And she was singing Liza, but I couldn't get it right. So
Wow, guys.
so I was like, Elijah, my grandma, like, well, we gonna call her Lucy.
Right.
And she would pop up every time something was going on wrong. And my grandmother would, when people were like, well, who is she talking to? My grandmother said, oh, her imaginary friend, Lucy. So eventually
Liza.
Lucy,
Okay.
when I got older, because she disappeared after a while, I guess because I didn't need her.
Oh.
And I asked her, well, who is she? My grandmother finally said, well, who is she?
Right.
And I asked, I said, well, who are you? And she told me she was my grandmother.
What?
And I said, she said she's my grandmother.
What in the world? I know you. I know.
And my
I know you feel
grandmother
like, what?
started laughing and said, oh, she's your grandmother, and was laughing.
Wow, that's deep. That's deep.
Oh.
So, like, after a certain age, it tapered off. Like, how long?
It
Has she
tapered off
disappeared?
when I was maybe around 10 or 11. I think I didn't need her anymore. She was just a family joke.
Oh my god.
But then one day,
Mm-hmm.
because I would, mind you, I'm going to tell you with her, I would see her, but I never would see her face.
Gotcha.
So I would just see like the outline, the body, but I
Yeah.
wouldn't see her
Gotcha,
face. I would see her
gotcha.
clothes.
Okay.
So when I was around 16, I laid down with the bed, had a dream, and there pops Lucy. And I'm looking like, is this Lucy? But she walks up to me in the dream, and she says, hi. And I'm looking at her face, and it's my grandfather that raised me sister.
Oh my god.
And she pulled out a plaque. And I said, well, what is this?
Right.
She said, this is a plaque with my children on it.
Oh my god.
And that's my mother name was on it. And her and the other daughter that she gave away was on it. And it was my real grandmother.
Oh,
And that's how I found out that my grandmother that raised me wasn't my grandmother.
oh my god. She was telling you things.
Yep.
She was telling you.
But
things.
she was
And
still
she's
alive.
Right.
And then I found out once I got to know that she was like me.
Oh.
So I didn't just get it from the grandfather. I got it from
Her.
my grandmother, my biological grandmother.
Isn't that something? Oh my.
So
gosh.
And I don't mind. I'm comfortable with
Right.
saying it here because
Right.
I want other people to
Yeah.
come out.
Yeah.
And plus, you and Raphael can attest to a
Yeah.
lot of things that
Yeah.
go on with
Yeah.
me
Yeah. Yeah.
or whatever. As a younger girl, I used to try to hide it, but now that I'm older, I don't do it because I feel like I could help people,
Yeah.
you know, and having the information is just not good to hold. Sometimes I could be walking, like if you come, and you could attest, so if you come to my home or you come within the studio and I'm around you long enough, I'll get visions and I'll see things and I'll get sometimes voices that'll tell me something to tell you. Y'all call in if you are like me, or I'm on here and I think it's a great topic because I don't want you to feel alone.
Right. So don't be afraid to talk about it. I remember when I first came here and you was like, you have it. What are you doing here? So I'm like, I have what? You have it too. What are you doing here? All y'all are coming here. So I'm like, who's all y'all? And then you was telling me.
Yeah.
But I used to be afraid, like, when somebody passed, it was like I was talking to them. Like, I felt like that
Yeah.
communication with them. I didn't like it. I remember when my husband's mom passed recently in November, and I could hear people talking, like, everybody in the room. Like, there was one man in his casket, his mom in there, and it was like that. And you could hear people yapping. And I'm like, I got to go. I got to get out of here. And he was like, oh, I already know. Come on, let's go. And I was kind of, I used to be really afraid of that kind of stuff. And then I remember I was somewhere. Where was I? I told you I went to a hunting store one day, and this woman came out of nowhere. Remember I was telling you that? And she started talking to me, and I'm like, but nobody else saw her. And I'm like, did y'all see the woman I was talking? I'm like, what woman? So it does happen. You know, there's people trying to tell you who you are. They're giving, you know, they're trying to enlighten you to tell you, you know, you have these things within you, so don't be afraid.
Don't be afraid.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid.
Yeah. So.
And I think, you know, I'll say that I was blessed to have people around me to understand and help me navigate. So now that I'm older, and if I see someone else, I try to help them, especially if I see that they have the gift like me, I try to help them.
Right.
And, you know, for you people that's really religious and you're taught that that's something that you shouldn't be capable of doing, do not believe it. That is not the devil. You are not devilish. You have been endowed with these gifts. One other thing I want to share, because I do frequent a lot of different spiritual websites and stuff like that, people often share stories about other types of beings and things like that. I'm here to tell you that in my 40-something years of living, I have encountered other beings.
Yeah. Okay.
So, you know, even if you want to call in and talk about that, do y'all want to hear that story? Because
it's a lot.
it's a lot.
Yeah.
I seen my first other being when I was in junior high.
Okay. Male or female?
It was it was female,
Okay.
a young girl and a adult woman.
Okay.
I was in junior high. I had a friend. Her name was Zakia. I used to walk. It took me like 30, because I lived so far. You know, when you grow up in the hood, we didn't have like all these buses and stuff that you had to walk the miles to go to school. Your parents ain't have time to drive you and all of that. We was impoverished. You had to make it work.
Right.
So it would take me 30 minutes to walk to my friend's house, and then 15 from her house to get to the high school, which I would walk past Whitney Houston House.
Okay.
I grew up in East Orange, so I live in Tretchland. I grew up in that area.
Okay.
Or whatever. So we were coming home, and we had like a half a day, and my grandmother didn't know. My grandmother was very strict. And she was like, oh, we got a half a day. Your grandmother don't know. We could chill. We could hang out or whatever. I want you to meet somebody. And I'm like, well, who? She was like, I got a new neighbor in my building.
Right.
Or whatever. And we went to, she knocked on the window to get the neighbor to come out. And a little girl came out, and she was like, all right, we gonna sit there, we gonna do whatever, we gonna chat. We was out, you know, just talking like young girls do. But we was still in that age range where we played little stupid games and stuff like that, and you know, jump rope or whatever. So the girl was talking, and she was like, I'm so excited to start school and stuff. And I just happened to take a real good look at her. And I flipped out. I'm like, froze. This ain't a girl.
This is something else.
This is something different. This
Right.
is not a girl.
Right.
So my friends Ikea looking at me like, what is she looking at?
Right.
I'm like, this is not a girl. So
Right.
the little girl went to reach out to me. I'm like, no, I can't do this. No, it's something wrong with her. And my friend's like, what do you mean there's something wrong with her? I'm
Right.
like, look at her.
Right.
Her head was like,
Framed differently from.
it was huge. Not like that stuff
really,
you see
really
on
big
TV
TV.
or
Okay.
that clay face.
Okay.
She looks like a black girl.
Right.
But her forehead was much, much bigger.
What?
And so her face, it's like, okay, how our face is
Yes.
more, we have shape, form. Her head was bigger, but her face looked like it was just sitting in the middle. And her arms was really longer. But she looked like she was black.
But she didn't look.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm just screaming. I'm like, no, I'm not playing with you. I'm not doing this. No, I can't. And her mom heard us.
Right.
And came outside and was like, what's going on? And when I seen the mom looked like a bigger version of her. So I really freaked
Like
out.
backed out, yeah.
And I was like, I'm out of here. I can't do this.
Something
I'm
right
out
here.
of here.
Right.
And I left. And I got home and I said to my grandmother, I said,
Right.
Grandma, I seen some crazy stuff. I I seen a person and she wasn't a person,
Right.
and I know she wasn't,
Right.
and y'all not gonna tell me that she was because her head looked like this. And my grandmother said, "Well, what's the big deal? Was she
Right.
mean?"
Right.
And I said, "No."
She just looked.
She said, "Did she do something to you?" I said, "No, but she's not a human."
Right.
And my grandmother said, "But if she wasn't mean and she didn't do anything, why would you?"
say that she's not human.
And so I said, "Okay." And I said, "But that's still weird."
Right.
So the next day came, and I walked past. I ain't gonna lie. I walked past my friend's house. I ain't pick her up or nothing. I just walked past. I ain't want to deal with that. I didn't want to deal with that. So I got to school,
Right.
and Zakia came to the school, and she was like, "Well, what happened to you this morning?" And I said, "Well, I'm sorry. I didn't want to deal with
Right.
the
That.
girl."
Right.
And she said, "Well, what girl?" I said, "You know the girl from yesterday that we was hanging with." And she busted out and said, "I don't know what you're talking about."
Oh my
I said, "The
God.
girl that we was playing with yesterday that lived next door to you."
Right. Right. And she looked.
And
at
she
you like
said,
you're crazy.
"What? I don't know what you talk." I said, "The
Right.
girl,"
Oh
and
my
I couldn't.
God.
She said, "Well, what's her name?" I couldn't remember her name.
Right. Oh my God.
So we left from school, and she was like, "Don't nobody live next to me." And when we got there, I kid y'all not, that apartment was empty that was on the side of her.
Oh heck.
And I said, "I'm telling you, we was playing with this girl. We was
Right.
playing with her mom. She was supposed to start the school with us, and she was going to walk to school with you. That's why I did not come here." And she was like, "I don't know what you talking about." So I was like, "You know what? I'm going home. I can't do this." So I got all the way home, right? My grandmother was like, "How was your day?" I said, "It was all right." She said, "So what happened with the new girl?" And I said, "You remember?" And she said, "Yeah, you came home upset about the new girl because
Right.
you knew that she was
Right.
different."
Right. Right.
I said, "But nobody don't remember, Grandma, when I went back."
Right.
Zakia don't remember. The apartment is
It's
empty.
empty, yeah.
All of that. She don't remember it.
That's crazy.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, because people, probably, your friend was like, "Okay, what is wrong with her? Something's
She-
got to be wrong with her."
Yep, she did
That's how she
not
thought.
remember. But me and
Wow.
my grandmother remember, and my grandmother said,
remembered.
"Yep." She was like, "It's okay. Sometimes
What?
things gonna happen, and people are just not like us. They're
Yeah,
different.
They're different. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you're not."
Oof.
And then the other account that I had in Delaware.
I remember you was telling me. Is that the one on the back road?
No, that's the one where I went to work, and she's a very nice lady.
Oh yeah, the woman that you would go.
The woman that went to
child.
Orient
Yeah.
with me,
Yeah.
and yep. And I
remember that.
saw through her contacts and saw that her eyes was not like our eyes.
She was very different, and when she told me this story, it gave me chills.
And she's still in
So-
Delaware, so I will never really divulge because she's a nice
Yeah. Person.
Lady.
Yeah.
or whatever she is. But there are people that are different, and my ex-husband did not believe me until one day he saw something on the news when they started really admitting that there are people from outer space and stuff.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Wow. So do you still go back to that house now and then, or no?
No, I don't. I did. Me and her actually became really cool, and it was
Okay.
funny because she never really, she never said I'm from here.
Or anything
But
like that.
when we watched that news broadcast, she made the statement. She was like, they're talking, oh, everybody knows that it's people from other planets, but the people of the other planets shouldn't be, y'all shouldn't be afraid of the people from the other planets. The people from the other planets need to be afraid of y'all. Because y'all kill things y'all don't understand.
Oh wow. Wow.
She made that statement.
That's crazy.
But
now,
she's nice.
now, did you remove yourself from that case, or did they just remove you from the case?
No, I eventually, after working there, it
Okay.
was I didn't care for the family.
Okay.
Which is strange because the family was a Mexican family, and if you know anything about the Maya and
Yeah,
all of that, they
yeah,
always
yeah.
tell you they have alien guardians
Yeah,
and things
yeah,
like
stuff like
that.
that, yeah.
Yeah.
Y'all, get in this conversation, man. I know somebody going through the same thing, man. You can't tell me that this is not happening in your life, or somebody you know who has been going through this type of thing. Alicia stated that.
That's really wild.
Yeah, my dad keeps a Pepsi and snacks in my mom's nightstand because he's scared of her ghost.
That's funny because all he doing is inviting her
Yeah,
there.
you're telling her to come on.
Yep, that's
what
nothing
she
but an
used to eat.
altar.
Yeah, that's an altar.
He
Yeah.
created an altar for her.
Come on, I'm giving you your favorite.
Yeah, he's creating a Creole altar.
Yeah, just tell him to take that stuff out of there and get rid of it. Yeah, and save that house.
But yeah, y'all tune in. I noticed, like I said, a lot of people, and for me, because I know who I am and I'm secure in who I am, I don't care.
Yeah.
And that's every
And people
piece
get
of me.
afraid. Yeah, and people get afraid when you tell them the truth about what within you, what you are. They get afraid. They try to stay away. Like, oh no, I'm not into that. And I remember a friend of mine came to our house, and I was telling her what I was going through and stuff like that. So she said, okay. So she came and she said, you know what? I thought about what you told me, and she said, it is a gift, but it's not a gift. So you got to be careful who you're talking to. And I said, yeah, I know that part, because she said every spirit is not a good spirit.
Not every
Right. Yeah. So she was like, I mean, it is a gift that you have, but she said when they're gone, let them be gone. Don't talk to them. But I'm like, so should I just be quiet, let them just say whatever they want to say? But sometimes they don't say anything; they just look at you, like,
those
I'm here.
spirits can't bother you unless you invite them.
Invite them, yeah. So she was like, don't be afraid of that. So I was like, okay. She's like, but just be careful. Everything is not
But so I'm gonna also say this, because when people think of spirits, they think of them haunting them. They think of them
the
bothering
bad part of it,
them.
the bad stuff. Yeah.
And they're not just for that. Like there are spirits
Guiding
for
you.
protection and guidance.
Yeah.
There are protection. And you want me to share another one? Because I like to tell you, my life is full of nothing but spiritual experience.
Go ahead.
They're protected. Like I go on the show. I plug it, Embrek TV. It's called Spooky Hours. I'm one of his favorites. I call and I tell him stories all the time. But I tell everybody, tap in. If you can safely. But when you tap into the universe provides and protects. And I believe my life is very blessed.
Yes.
But I've also always been protected.
Right.
Again, I grew up in East Orange, Newark area, and I'll share experience. I was coming from my grandmother, my biological grandmother house that she owned, and I didn't listen.
Right.
I was coming over a bridge, and it was at maybe 11:30, 12 o'clock. I was 16 years old.
Okay.
I seen two cars ride past me, because you're taught to watch the
everything,
surroundings.
yeah.
Two cars passed by me. One dark black car, and then a cab rolled past me. So I hear some footsteps behind me. I turn around, as a man, but he's quite a distance, so I'm not worried about him.
Okay.
All of a sudden, I feel something in my back, and the man says to me, "Keep walking, don't scream. Don't say nothing. When you get to the end of this bridge, make a right." I'm in my head, and I'm trying to figure out exactly what it is I'm going to do. Oh my God, I'm going to die. What is going to happen?
All this stuff is running through
How
your
is it going?
mind.
My family going to feel? I should have listened.
Right.
All this stuff just running through my head. All of a sudden, when we got to the middle of that bridge, remember, the universe protects and provides.
Yes.
I heard a voice. First, I felt a strong wind, like a force, come up on the side.
Right.
And it said, "Run." And then I felt whatever the man had in my back. I didn't feel it no more. And I took off running.
Oh my God.
I got to maybe like a block away where I felt it was safe, and something said, "Turn around." I turn around and I look. And I could see the man cussing and hollering, and he keeps trying to get up. But there's nothing there. It's not a person. nothing. You can't see
Yeah,
anything holding
right.
him, but you could see the
something-
struggle
something's
of him
going
trying
on.
to. Yeah, and
Oh my
he's
gosh.
just cussing
Woo.
and yelling.
Oh my gosh.
And when he finally got up, he looked at me. He looked around, and I said, "Oh my God, I better keep booking it because." But he turned the other way and took off running.
Whoo. That's crazy. It scared the heck out of him.
And I got home, and my grandma said, Where you been?" And I told her what happened, but of course she called the cops.
Right.
But she told me that night. I said, "It ain't upset you." She said, "No, because you protected."
That's something, isn't it, y'all?
I was
Wow.
like, "What?"
Wow.
And you know, that same man, a couple months later, my aunt got a cab with that same man.
What?
Yep.
Get
And when
out.
she got in the cab,
Right.
he locked all the doors and said, "Bitch, I got you. You going, I'm about to take you." He just started cussing her out and calling her
What?
names and stuff like
Oh my
that.
gosh.
And my aunt was steady trying to open the door.
Right.
And he had took the knob. It was one of them old fashioned cars where you
Yeah,
know
I
the
remember
knobs
that.
twist
Twist
off. Yeah. So she couldn't
Oh my
reach in and
God.
pull it, and
Yeah,
she couldn't get it.
Open the door.
She said, "I don't know what." Told my grandmother, "I don't know what happened, Aunt Mark, but the door just flew open."
What?
And I jumped out. She was like, "I don't know how the door opened.
But it opened.
It just opened."
Wow. Wow.
We later
That's
found out
serious.
that man, and y'all could look it up, that man was the East Orange rapist. He was raping and killing women
Oh my gosh.
in that area
What?
from the ages of 16
Right.
on up.
Y'all.
He murdered
Look
so
that up.
many people.
Wow. That is so deep. Yeah, honey. People are just crazy. She said, "Sure is." Yeah, that is crazy. You guys, look. And I know, like I said, like we said a few minutes ago, I know y'all been going through these things in your lifetime as well. I mean, I know somebody's been talking to, those who have passed on, communicating with them and stuff like that because you believe that is them. And sometimes they telling you things for you to wake up to tell you, look,
Yep.
this is going on, this is going to happen, that's going to happen. And some people have that in them, so I mean, it's up to you to take a force for that. But I remember I was at the smoothie spot the other day. Like my vibe kicked in. Bam! A man came in the door. Something went right about him. I already felt that already when he came through the door. It was creepy already. So I act like somebody was in the back there, but it wasn't nobody there. It was just me and the girl doing a smoothie. I closed. I was like, okay, all right, he's back there. So I closed the door. He started talking to the customer service person making the smoothies. So he said, "Do you hear me talking to you, bitch?" Like that? And then she's like, "I'm on the phone. I'm handling business right now." And he was like, "Okay, so you rather?" He got it real nasty. Left out the door. Something in me said, "Lock this door." Soon as I locked that door, not even 30 seconds, here he comes, banging, trying to get in the door, banging on the door. You be stop, all that. And I was like, okay, thank God I locked that door. And it was something in me, for me, because I wasn't going to go there to get my smoothie. Something said, "Go ahead and go get your smoothie." And if I hadn't have went there, she would have been there by herself dealing with this man. Crazy, right? So you got to go, when your vibe tell you something, you better listen. Because he's telling you something.
Or
You
that
got to.
voice.
Yeah, or that voice within you. Listen to it.
And no, it's not a schizophrenic
No,
voice.
it's not. It's something to tell you, look, open your eyes, listen. Open your ears and listen. There's things out here that telling you what's going on, that trying to tell you. That's like, you feel sometimes something said, "Don't you turn right, turn left." That's something somebody's with you, telling you not to turn that way. Because I know you have that.
Kenyatta?
Huh?
She said, "I know this stuff is true. I just don't want to indulge in that stuff, but I do protect myself with prayer."
Awesome. That's good. You should do that.
But the thing is, when people say indulge,
That word, indulge.
what do you mean by that? Because again, these things that you can do, and I like to believe that each black person has something, and then some people just have more. If you don't cultivate it, I think you lose it, and I think that you done wasted a gift that's probably here to change something.
And that's like sometimes like a prophet too, right? Am I
Yes.
right? Am I right? Yeah, that's like prophets as well. They see things. I remember walking through the park, minding my own business. This man stops me and said, "You know, you didn't have to do that, you know." And I'm looking at him like, "Excuse me, you don't even know me." And he said, "You didn't have to do that. I had a whole hysterectomy done." He was like, "You didn't have to do that. All you had to do was stop eating the meat." And I'm looking at him like, "Who are you?" And then he says, "My name was Prophet such and such." I'm like, wow. Just from me eating red meat did that to me, ruined me. Yeah. So now, you know, I just know a little better, you know, but yeah, so it's in us, like she said, it's in us. All of us, not just us African American people. It's in all of us. Those who, you know these things. Don't be afraid to acknowledge what your gift is. You know?
Yeah, I like I said, for me, and I'm not a religious person, so forgive me if you are. I think religion clouds a lot of things. It's some things, some parts in there that's true, and then there's some parts that's designed to keep you in this lockbox for you to not understand actually how the world and how things should work. But you are an incredible machine. We are incredible machines. We are capable of doing so many things,
Right.
but we allow fear
Yes, to stop us.
to stop us.
Yeah. So true.
Yeah.
So true.
And me personally, I like facing fear head on. I am not ashamed of who I am. You know, no piece of me, no parts.
Right.
The LGBT part,
Right.
the spiritual part, none of it. And I would encourage you not to be ashamed of who you are. And I've learned through time that if you are around people that is not accepting, then they are not your tribe of people.
Exactly.
You got to get with a different
Tribe.
group
Yeah.
that's going to help you to cultivate and understand.
Yeah, and Kiana stated that she said that's my problem.
Letting fear take over.
Take it over.
I've gotten over fear. It's like I'm me. Take it or leave it. Guess I should share with her. Get over the fear in this lifetime because you got plenty more to live, and you don't want to have to keep dealing with that.
Right.
And I can tell you that some live multiple lifetimes. I can remember some of my lifetimes.
Yeah, so you guys be honest about be honest, about what's inside of you. Let it come out. Let it out. Don't hold that stuff in because, you can help somebody. You can save somebody's life if you know something, sometimes you get that vibe to call somebody, do it. Go do that because something's telling you to do that. It's not just you doing it. It's something within you saying, you need to make this phone call. You need to handle that. Don't wait too long. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
You're being called to do it. And I'll tell you, I'll share another one. You want me to share another one? About why it's important to take heed to making that call or saying something that was supposed to be stated. I was coming home from work, and I had a 350 ML Mercedes. I was coming over the bridge. Now, this expensive ass car, right? I'm coming over, what is that, the Route 1 bridge? When you're coming from Christiana Mall.
That's Route 1.
While my car, the steering wheel, everything stopped working. I could not control my car. My car was heading toward the tip of the bridge to bust over into the water.
What? Gina Tay.
Right before I go to hit my car wheel, now telling you, I was turning it and I couldn't control the wheel. All of a sudden, my car straightens out. and it drives itself and park on the side of the road.
What?
My uncle that never called me a day in his damn life, called me. I didn't even know this man had my phone number.
What?
He said, I'm calling you because your grandmother told me, now she was deceased, the one that raised me.
Right.
He said, I was taking a nap and Aunt Maud came to me in a dream and said for me to call you right now and see if you was okay.
What?
I said, what? He said, yeah. I was dreaming and she said, call her right now and see if she okay. And I said, you know what? I'm not. My car lost total control. I don't know what happened. I could not turn the wheel. It wouldn't do nothing. I was about to fly over the bridge, but then all of a sudden my vehicle turned straight and it parked.
Woo.
And he was like, what? Are you okay? And I said, yeah. And he said, well, that's why she told me to call you.
Make sure that you was
To
okay.
make sure you was okay. And he sat on the
That's
phone
serious.
and made sure that the
you-
cops got, picked and, yup.
Man.
So you don't never know, long story short, you don't never know what that voice is telling you could be. Now, I'm not saying listen to the negative. I'm talking about the positive.
Right. Exactly.
That made because I was a rat. I didn't even know. I'm like, what the? I almost died. In this expensive ass car I had to have. I almost died in it.
That is crazy. So when that happened, I know your mind was blown. Like, what is going on?
Yup,
here?
my mind was blown. The first thing, once I calmed down, I said, okay, well, which family member did this?
Oh my God.
Who saved me this time?
Right.
What happened?
Wow.
Who looked over my food behind this
Right.
time?
That's what I'm saying.
And
you
when
know?
he made the call,
Right.
it made it clear for
For
me.
somebody was.
I said that was
somebody
my
right there,
grandmother
mother saved
protecting
you.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, okay.
Yeah. I mean, stories like that. So people cannot tell me they have not had that happen to them in their lives, to where you're at the peak of something's going to happen to you, to where you're saved. So that's something to talk about right there. That's your life. Somebody, a guardian angel, your spiritual guide, or somebody in God was right there with you. Somebody was there with you. Somebody that passed on who was there with you. I remember somebody told me, you never know what's going to come out of nowhere. You have people show up at the right time to tell you things for you to enlighten and take it in, because it's something that you need to be listening to.
Uh-huh.
So I'm telling y'all that tonight. Look, get in on this conversation, because it's really powerful conversation that people are afraid to acknowledge what's, like I said earlier, what's in you.
Mm-hmm.
You have these gifts. It's telling you.
Yeah, and get with the people. I like to get with people
Who are like
who
you.
are like you to help you understand. Don't put yourself in circles where you're gonna get hurt, or a person tell you it's something wrong with you, and you need God and you need to pray because there's a demon and all this stuff. So you mean to tell me everything that's outside of the realms of what you could see, but you read in the Bible that it happened has to be a demon? For every demon that's out there that people believe in, there has to be
Right.
some type of good that's going to counteract
Yeah,
it.
yeah, so true.
So why wouldn't you be
Yeah.
a force for good?
Right, exactly. So that's where I'm at with that. We have to just, accept it, acknowledge it. Like I said, don't be afraid to be who you are. And like Pete stated, be around people who know where you're at, who had the same thoughts as you, who knows, those same things that come to them is just the same as they come to you. Spirituality.
Yep. And don't be
Spirituality.
afraid. All these things,
Yeah.
I cruise the internet and I see people saying, "Oh, well, stones is is terrible, it's the devil, and cards is
No.
the devil. None of that stuff
Right.
has a personality. It's the person that wields those things. So if you go to an evil person and they
Right.
got tarot cards, of course they're trying to produce evil things for you or give you an
something.
evil spell or
Yeah, something.
yeah, if that's what their intentions are.
Right. Yeah. So if you feel as though your spirit will tell you just to stay away from that person anyway, because that's the spirituality within you to tell you, okay, my vibe ain't wrong. I need
Right.
to stay away from that person. There you go. That's your spirituality right there. And like I said, if you see things that come to you and nobody else seen, that's again your spirituality. It's nothing. You're nothing slow about you. Ain't nothing retarded about you. Ain't nothing negative going on about you. It's just something that is still inside of you. It's through your bloodline.
And don't be afraid. Like I've had psychics reach out to me over the internet. I have talking to a few.
Right.
Some people say, I got a message for you. And I'm like, okay, let me hear it. Some of them be okay. Some of them I'll see stuff,
Right.
and I got a message for you.
I remember you told me the lady got upset because you was telling her.
I got a message for you.
Oh, God, that's serious. Okay, she reversed it. She's like, no, I got something to tell you. You called the wrong one on this one. Listen. Yes, but this is some serious stuff. This is a good conversation to have with your people in your family, like ancestors, and about your ancestors and what they did, and because that's how it becomes within you. So don't deny that, because it's within your blood. So that's something that you'll live with for the rest of your lives. So people are just afraid. Don't be.
And my family is full of some preachers and things like that. I don't want y'all to think that everybody walking around like shaman or whatever. No, it's not.
No.
But what I love is the ministers and stuff that are in my family.
Yeah.
They will acknowledge that there are people within our family that have the gift, and some of them do too. So they kind of incorporate it with their religion. They're not foolish and have all these jaded thoughts that no, that ain't, no, they're not. They like, no, our family, we have these gifts, we see stuff, whole bunch of things, and we're good with it. And Kenyatta, I really think that you probably need to see, or I don't know where you live, meet somebody, go to one of those traditional candle shops. You might run into somebody that could probably assist you or give you some information to get you on your way. I know a lot of it for me as I get older, it's not even about guidance of someone else. Now it's like the guidance of the spirit, and I haven't been led wrong. I'll tell you, when I don't listen, my life gets very chaotic. It's like, oh, you off the beaten path. Things just start falling apart.
Right. Like, what is going on here?
Mm-hmm.
So you have those days where you're being tested. So just go with that and step out there and just figure out who you really are. And that's what we fail in. We don't want to know. So it's good to do.
Well, Kenyatta said what?
Yeah.
She said it's
Yeah.
scary. It's the fear. It's,
Yeah.
and of course you'll be fearful because, again, which bothers me, because my grandparents that raised me were also like history buffs. I don't understand how black families just swept that under the rug when we come from a rich culture of spirituality and different practices. I don't know why, during slavery or whatever happened, we took that out and, we didn't continue to embrace and teach our children, and let it continue forth down the generations. Instead, we put this well, I guess the fear was placed
Right.
in it to keep your mind in a slave mentality, not to give you hope or whatever. But historically, black people are known for these things. This is what we used to do.
Yeah, yeah. And if you look at, your ancestors, dude, that's what they.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what they all did. My sister Daphne was saying something. Daphne, whatever you said up there, repeat that because I didn't get what you were trying to tell me on there. But yeah, but with us, this is within us. You can't ignore it. And it comes out in different ways, basically. Prophet, you come out in prophecy. Like my friend, like I told you, she's a prophet. And she's like, don't be afraid, just be careful because, it is a gift that you have, but be careful at the same time. So, and that's with anything else that you partake in, it's not just that, but with anything else. So, yeah. But this was a good conversation tonight. I'm glad I just wanted to talk about it. It's been on my mind to talk about, so I just wanted to know, what kind of feedback I would get tonight. So
Most people
really
are just listening. They're like,
Oh,
what?
Really? Oh, okay. I didn't know.
And just to impart, right, I think, and I'll share this, if y'all don't know, because a lot of people probably knew, I am the LGBT host on the network. And in LGBT land, we have something called two-spirited people.
Okay.
And I believe that I am probably one of those two-spirited people,
Okay.
being that I present as a female, but I have internally, I do male things. Like I produce high levels of testosterone within my body.
Okay.
So whereas you got high levels
Yeah.
of estrogen,
Yeah.
I have high levels of testosterone. I can't do my body's not capable of doing some of the things that you are capable of doing. So
Okay.
essentially, in I guess Indian world or
Yeah.
Indian cultures and things of that nature, I would be considered as two-spirited
Okay.
because I would be I would be considered a male and a female in one body. So
Okay.
that's like kind of like walking the line of divinity
Yeah.
and all of that stuff. So
Okay.
I believe that a lot of LGBT people probably are like me because we walk the line.
Yes.
I guess spiritually speaking, we embody duality. So you might meet a lot of LGBT people that can actually see and do and hear things, and it wouldn't be uncommon.
Okay. Now, I haven't met any but you. So, yeah.
Kenyatta said that's how I feel like I'm two. Oh, like you two people.
Okay.
Yeah, being two-spirit is definitely a very interesting concept because you can actually feel that it's two spirits in you.
Okay.
And they kind of like, man, it's not like a schizophrenic thing.
Okay.
They manifest, say like the strong suit of the male.
Okay.
Like I've run several businesses, so I understand that the strong suit of the male
it's
part of
kicking
me kicks in. Yeah. And I'm not trying to be sexist, but again, like I said, that goes back to me knowing that I had another life,
Right.
and in that life I was a businessman.
Okay.
And a lot of the concepts that I had then,
It's still
I can draw back and pull it
up
forward now.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So a lot of people be like, well, how did you know that? Or what made you think? And I always laugh and I say, well, I was a businessman. They laugh, but I was.
Right.
And
And people, and you need to know these things. You're like, in your past, like, where were you? Some people are afraid to know those kind of things too.
yeah, I was. And I mean, a story of that is, if you believe in your soul tribe,
Okay.
that my wife from that time is in my life today, but
Right.
she's just not my wife.
Right. She's just your best friend.
She's my friend. So, yeah.
That's awesome.
So again, this world is not how everybody perceives it to be. It's not
Right.
like that. And it's funny because when I meet people, I can tell how many lives you.
I remember when
If
I first
you've been
came,
here
when I fir-
before, I
when
can
fir-
tell.
When I first came here, you said you got something on your eye, and I'm like, where? And I kept going like and looking in the mirror, like she said she sees something. So where is it actually that you said that you actually look for?
It's markings.
Markings.
A lot of I was told as a younger girl that some indicators or markings around the eyes
Okay.
or whatever.
Okay.
Yeah, and so sort of like rings on a tree, markings
Yeah.
of the eyes. Oh yeah, I can also read palms too. So
She does everything. So just to let you know, everything. So don't come around here thinking you are and you're not, because she's gonna give it to you.
I ain't
What
gonna
you
give
say?
it to them. I won't say nothing and just sit
No,
there.
I'm playing.
Yeah, no, I will sit. What I'll do is let you come in and I'll just look.
Look like yeah, okay. Yeah, you full of it. Yeah. Yeah, but so that's what she does. She's a everything woman. She just knows. She just awesome in everything that she does. So I'm grateful for her for enlightening me on things that I didn't know. So,
Yeah,
so
I could
things
probably
aren't by
just-
mistake. So
Yeah, if you open, I could peer right on into your
Yeah.
little heart and soul and see
like, what's going on?
what's going on.
right?
But I tend not to say much because I know that it can. I have lost people throughout my lifetime doing that, but then I have had them come back and say to me,
you was right.
you was right, but I was uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So it's a journey being me.
Right. Right.
It's a journey, and sometimes it's a lonely one because even though you're in a room full of people,
That doesn't. Yeah.
you still like hesitant because you're like,
I already know that I'm different from all.
yeah, my experience is
Yeah.
different.
Totally. Yeah. So you can pick that up.
Yeah.
Their
She
vibe.
said, well, please let me know and tell me, please. What you want to know? What you want to know? You want me to, I would have to literally, now see, this is the thing, right? And it's probably possible, but I haven't run into that. For me, it doesn't work. Like how Cleo could look at a picture and tell you, that's not me. I can't do that. I have to have some type of contact with you, or I
gotta
have
be
to
right
talk
here,
to you
yeah.
or something
Right.
in order, because it's like, it's me, but it's not me, I have to be in contact with you.
She stated, "Whatever's I'm supposed to know."
Whatever you're supposed to know. I don't know because I haven't been around you personally and I haven't spoken to you. I will have
Just
to
on the
literally
phone,
speak
yeah.
to you, or I have to you have to come
Here.
here in front of me. And then I'll be able to tell you. And it's not even like how most people be sitting up there, you watch them psychics on TV and they like, give me a picture. Let me hold your hand. It's not that how it works for me. It's like as soon as you walk, then something will say this and that, and
me to
it'll
say
be like
this, yeah.
cues. It'll start in flashes of images and then the wording. So it works like that. I can tell you that I had a girl that came here in the studio. Her boyfriend was doing some work for us in here. And as soon as I saw her, I kept seeing the word grandmother kept going in my head. Grandma, 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 grandma. And I'm trying to ignore it.
Right.
And it was crazy because once I peered into it, it was really a message. And I'm like, what? Why does the word grandma keep popping in my head? And she was like, my grandmother passed away. And I said, okay, so I guess she has a message. And then once I let that barrier down, that's when the grandmother told me to tell her that she was proud of her and glad that she was going in the direction she was going to. But the grandmother also popped up because she wanted to say something to someone else that was in the room that she didn't even realize that she knew her grandmother. And her grandmother was a pivotal role in that person's life.
Isn't that deep? That's deep. That's real deep.
And I'm just sitting there like.
So did she break down and, you know, like,
She
wow.
started, she was
Yeah.
crying, and the other person was like, oh my God, I know your grandmother.
Wow.
Based off of, and
What
I
you
was like,
said.
yeah, I was like, this is the message.
That's something, you guys.
For the
So,
grandmother wanted to say something to the grandchild, but also wanted to say something
to her.
to the other person that she impacted. But I never knew the girl, I never met her, and I didn't know that the other party knew the grandmother.
too. Isn't that something?
Never knew none of that. And then when you think, is that Raphael niece Kenyatta?
Yeah. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Your uncle, remember the thing for his
Yeah.
mom?
Yeah. I remember
About
when you
the
was telling me
man.
about the light skin.
The
Yeah.
person, the man that she, and I didn't know nothing about his mom.
That's why she said my uncle. You could set something up. Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. So again, I don't make anybody promises. All I know is if it's something meant for me to tell you, it'll come right when I see you. It won't be me sitting up here squeezing my head, and it won't be me taking a whole bunch of pictures, and it won't be me doing nothing. It'll just come.
Mm-hmm.
And then the cards is a little bit different. They you put them out, they like little tea leaves, you got to read them. And I'm going to tell you something. The accuracy of them cards so far has been 100% accuracy, and even if the message is negative, and I hate giving a negative message. Oh, my God. I hate the negative messages. But I got to give them.
Because sometimes when you do that, it's something, knowledge that you need to intake.
Yeah.
So it's telling you something that you've been through, and it knows it, or what have you.
And it
it's
knows
just-
it.
Yeah.
And
So
it-
it's telling you how, you know, you need to handle it in this format or whatever. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So, you know, this was a good show tonight, you guys, and I want you to guys continue sharing this. Let somebody hear this, because maybe somebody out there needs to hear this tonight. You know, we like to let it out, and it's a deep conversation for those who are really spirited. So, like myself and Peach and you, some of you that are on here. So, you know, so do that, okay? But I want to let you guys know, next week show, you really want to know, man. Next week's show is going to be about, do you deserve a second chance?
That's going to be interesting.
Do you deserve a second chance? So don't tell me tonight. We're going to wait until next week. And it's going to be powerful because I have a couple people who are going to be calling in on that conversation. It's really deep conversation.
And I just want to say, whoever's watching this, the word pregnancy just popped in my head. So whoever's on here watching it or whatever, whatever this pregnancy just popped in my head, pregnancy. And I know I don't plan on getting pregnant because
Me,
I'm not even in that kind of a relationship.
I'm done. I'm finished.
So whoever's watching, pregnancy.
So, who are you? Are you pregnant? Do you know it?
They're looking.
They're
They're looking.
They're looking.
But the one word pregnancy, and I'm not going any further.
Okay.
It's pregnancy.
Okay.
I don't know if it's you pregnant or somebody that
Around
you
you.
messing with.
Or around you.
No, somebody that it's either
No.
they're pregnant or somebody that they're messing with got somebody pregnant.
Ooh.
And we'll leave it there.
Whoa. Door shut. Okay. All right, you guys. I appreciate each and every one of you tonight.
And I'm
Who
going to
have
go
tuned
back
in.
to the production seat.
Yes, thank
Tune
you.
in tomorrow night.
Yes, and also, you guys, I want you to Also, get tickets for the play that Raphael and myself are in called If You're Dirty, Take a Bath. You're going to go to Take a Bath at evenbright.com. No chains, okay? Please, it's going to be an amazing play, April 2nd. And also, I want you to support I Am Me. Please do that as well. Because we gotta support all these things that are going on within us and around our circles and things. So we need to do all that. Okay, so please continue to stay safe, each and every one of you, and I pray I see you next week. So see ya.
I'm up against the fight of my life. I'm so afraid to sleep at night. You won't get away. It's time for me to let it